I am Judy Montgomery, one of your worship associates. I am grateful to be a part of West Shore because it is a spiritual home for all who are in sympathy with Unitarian Universalist principles and values, regardless of religious background, age, ability, race, ethnicity, gender identity, or sexual orientation. We strive to be an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, multicultural community, as shown by our vote to support the eighth principle last Sunday. We welcome you to embrace these values as well. A special welcome to newcomers. If you are here in person, be sure to stop by the Welcome Center out in the hallway if you haven't already. If you've joined via the YouTube live stream, our membership and engagement coordinator, Diane Alcorn, would love to reach out to you. Her contact information is being added as we speak. A warm welcome to our guest speaker, who has been attending West Shore often enough to become an official friend, Reverend Shirley Nelson. Reverend Shirley is a certified interspiritual compassionate counselor and life skills coach. She offers sessions to individuals to explore their spiritual journey with the intention of raising their consciousness and deepening their understanding of themselves and others. She recently started a Serenity Circle here at West Shore on Tuesdays called Tune Up Tuesday. Last Wednesday, she started a group at Rocky River Senior Center. I also want to acknowledge member Terry Selby, who is our pianist for today. We have a vocal musician visiting us to participate in our service as well. Please welcome Acacia. We also want to acknowledge and thank our tech team, Christine, Ann, Mike, and Melinda today. Please see the weekly e-news that is sent out by email on Fridays to learn about events and activities going on this week in our community. One announcement I want to highlight right now is that Reverend Anthony and 11 West Shore members left on Thursday to visit our partner church in Bagian, Romania. May they have an enjoyable and rewarding time. In response to the Supreme Court decision, our Reproductive Justice Task Force has given me this statement to share with you. The Reproductive Justice Task Force vehemently disagrees with and opposes the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The right to bodily autonomy is a fundamental human right that should not be denied to any human. As Unitarians, we hold dear the idea of the inherent worth and dignity of all humans, and this decision is a contradiction of that belief. We affirm the Unitarian Universalist Association statement on the right to bodily autonomy, which reads, quote, "Decisions about children, families, and sexuality are some of life's most profound. Our Unitarian Universalist faith holds central the inherent worth and dignity of all people, which includes a belief in the sacredness of all bodies and the importance of self-determination and human agency. As part of a liberatory reproductive justice movement, we affirm our commitment to building a world in which all people are able to make choices about their bodies, their health, and their families within safe, thriving communities. In practice, this commitment looks like working to ensure that people of all identities and experiences have access to affirming, affordable health care, including reproductive care and abortion. People of every age can access comprehensive, sex-positive, fact-based sexuality education to ensure that people are empowered and supported to choose when, how, and if they will have children. Our institutions and communities actively work to eradicate sexual violence, abuse, and coercion, and to heal the wounds of such harm. That people are supported to make informed, values-aligned decisions about their sexual and reproductive health throughout their lives. We advocate for the ability of all families and communities to realize a sense of wholeness with regard to their sexual and reproductive lives. We create safe, healthy environments for children in our faith communities and campaign publicly for just and compassionate laws for family planning, reproductive and sexual health, and gender equity. And the task force continues, due to trigger laws on the books in Ohio, abortion will likely become illegal in Ohio sooner rather than later, denying Ohioans the right to basic health care. After all, abortion is health care. The task force has created a list of abortion networks that can help people find and afford access to safe abortions and reproductive health care. The list can be found in the pamphlet recently created by the task force. And you can check the pastoral health table, pastoral team table in the hallway if you'd like information about that. Please consider supporting these networks either financially or by volunteering. They will likely be inundated by people in need in the coming days, weeks, and months. This list can and should be shared with the wider community. The task force encouraged congregants to use their voice to let their elected leaders know these bills are not what the people want and will cause real harm and even death as people seek alternative, possibly unsafe forms of abortion. Contact your leaders, campaign for state representatives that are like-minded, and help get out the vote. Until the federal government passes laws to protect abortion rights, this will continue to be a state-level issue. It is likely additional legislation will be introduced to further restrict reproductive rights and the right to bodily autonomy. As these extreme laws are brought forth, we will let the congregation know. Our voices must be heard and pressure must be applied to elected leadership. The movement to deny people access to abortion and even contraception is connected to legislation to restrict LGBTQ+ people, particularly trans people. There is an effort underway to revert society to a time when women could not own property, abortion was not safe, and LGBTQ people lived in the closet. Each bill introduced becomes more extreme and becomes more difficult to believe and more overwhelming. Know that you are not alone in your anguish and your grief. We will all stand together to ensure the inherent worth and dignity of all people is respected and reflected in our laws. We will not go back. Please be gentle with yourselves in the coming days. We're all angry, hurt, and left to wonder what's next. If you need someone to talk to, please reach out to the pastoral care team and keep close to the West Shore community. Keep an eye on the e-news for further updates from the task force. We will be working to provide news and information as it becomes available. And they close with the words of Reverend Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard. The path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Thank you to our task force. Let us witness to the unity of our spirit by saying together our unison affirmation words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio su ley. Este es nuestro magnífico convenio. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor, y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. We come to this good morning remembering the journey of freedom. The land we are on was once another's. We mourn the legacies of oppression. Healing is our way forward. Joy is the birthright of all. And now let us greet each other as feels mutually comfortable. And if you like, you might include in your greeting a wave at the folks at home. Hello. I wonder how long we would keep this up if we didn't stop it. Let's join together and stand and sing our first hymn of the day, number 169, We Shall Overcome. This children's story illustrates how we are all connected. The Invisible String by Patrice Karst. The twins, Liza and Jeremy, were asleep one calm and quiet night. Suddenly it began to rain very hard. Thunder rumbled until it got so loud that it woke them up. "Mommy, Mommy," they cried out as they ran to her. "Don't worry, you two. It's just the storm making all that noise. Go back to bed." "We want to stay close to you," said Jeremy. "We're scared." Mom said, "You know we're always together no matter what." "But how can we be together when you're out here and we're in bed?" said Liza. Mom had held something out right in front of them and said, "This is how." Rubbing their sleepy eyes, the twins came closer to see what Mom was holding. I was about your age when my mommy first told me about the invisible string. "I don't see a string," said Jeremy. "You don't need to see the invisible string. People who love each other are always connected by a very special string made of love." "But if you can't see it, how do you know it's there?" asked Liza. "Even though you can't see it with your eyes, you can feel it with your heart and know that you're always connected to everyone you love. When you're at school and you miss me, your love travels all the way along the string until I feel it tug on my heart. And when you tug it right back, we feel it in our hearts," said Jeremy. "Does Jasper the cat have an invisible string?" Liza asked. "She sure does," said Mom. "And best friends like me and Lucy?" asked Liza. "Best friends too." "How far can the string reach?" "Anywhere and everywhere," Mom said. "Would it reach me even if I were a submarine captain deep in the ocean?" asked Jeremy. "Yes," said Mom, "even there." "A ballerina in France?" "Even there." "A jungle explorer?" "Even there." "How about an astronaut out in space?" "Yes, even there." Then Jeremy quietly asked, "Can my string reach all the way to Uncle Brian in heaven?" "Yes, even there." "Does the string go away when you're mad at us?" "Never," said Mom. "Love is stronger than anger, and as long as love is in your heart, the string will always be there. Even when you get older and can't agree about things like who gets to ride in the front seat or what movie to see or what time to go to bed. Oh, that's right, you two should be in bed." And with that, they all laughed as Mom chased the twins back to their beds. Within a few minutes, they were asleep, even though the storm was still making the same loud noises outside. As they slept, they started dreaming of all the invisible strings they have, and their friends have, and their friends have, and their friends have, until everyone in the world was connected by invisible strings. And from deep inside, they now could clearly see no one is ever alone. That was the invisible string.
Many of you are unsettled by the decision that was made with Roe versus Wade, and the invitation has been extended to you to take care of yourself and to be gentle with yourself. As we move into the meditation, I invite you to gently close your eyes or soften your gaze or focus on the chalice, whatever it is that will allow you to be comfortable and to pay attention to the words and to your body. Sitting comfortably, feeling feet on the floor, pelvis on the chair, spine growing out of the pelvis like the stem of a flower, and the head floating on top. As you breathe in, imagine the Spirit breathing life into you. As you breathe out, experience the release of your exhale and allow your body to surrender more fully into the present moment. Continue to pay attention to your breath for a few cycles, and then allow your breath to carry your awareness from your head down into your heart's center. Imagine that around you is the energy of a smile. Feel it close and near to you, the bright and sweet energy of a smile. Let the smile float down and come to your face. You don't need to put a smile onto your face, but simply feel the energy of the smile. Let the skin and muscles of your face be awakened by the energy of the smile. Feel it on the inside. A smile can help to connect to a mood or spirit of friendliness, of benevolence, and kindness. Let the atmosphere and sense of a smile widen and broaden so that the shoulders are free to relax and fall away from the neck. See if you can feel the aliveness in the shoulders. Don't forget to breathe. See if you can let any tightness float away. Let there be a feeling of openness in the chest. Now, allow the energy of the smile to enter into the heart space. The heart space, which floats in the midst of things: breath, bones, muscles. Feel the smile from the inside out. Imagine now that the energy of the smile is transformed into the presence of love, a palpable sense of tenderness and warmth. And let this love fill your heart space. Reflect on your own loving nature. I'll say that again. Reflect on your own loving nature. You might want to bring your hands to your heart and notice the sensation of skin to skin as you feel the pressure of your hands on your chest. Imagine the inner landscape of the heart, offering yourself a message of care. May I be filled with loving presence. May I know the joy of being alive. May I trust my inner goodness. May I trust that I am enough. May my heart and mind be awakened and be free. And so it is. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes.
One of the many activities I have appreciated and enjoyed here at West Shore is the Pen Pal program that Megan Ross has offered several times. Twice I was paired with adults who I knew some, and so I got to know them better, and it was great. Then came the time Megan paired me with a 2-year-old. A 2-year-old? What was I going to do with that? Well, it turned out to be an amazing experience. His mom, Amanda, and I began a correspondence and an art exchange that centered Elliot. What has happened is now I have an almost grandson, and Elliot has another grandma. His parents and I have arranged outings together, even during COVID, that really enriched our lives. Recently, I was at his 4th birthday celebration. He's still shy, but what a delight, what a delight. So thank you for your generosity that supports programs like this and so many others here at West Shore. Our offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Hello, West Shore. It's really good to be with you again. Several months ago, I was gifted with a 2022 calendar by a West Shore congregant. Immediately upon accepting this gift, several thoughts and feelings stirred inside of me. At first, I felt gratitude. Secondly, I felt a deep, deep sorrow. And third, I thought about love. What a surprise. This calendar was not like any of the rudimentary calendars that are freely distributed at the beginning of the year. No, I could immediately tell that this calendar had heart and soul, depth meaning, and a deliberate intent to educate. The title on the cover of the calendar is A History of Racial Injustice. And as you can see by the demonstration, it is an image of 5 African Americans waiting in line. Upon opening the cover, it was explained that it was a photo of people waiting in line to vote in 1966, after the Voting Rights Act was enacted. The calendar was created by the Equal Justice Initiative as a tool for people and groups who are eager to learn the truth about American history. These groups include newspapers, colleges, churches, and corporations who are investigating their roles in the history of enslavement and racial terror. They are also looking into legally authorized segregation and abuse of people of color and continuing manifestations of racial hierarchy and bias. Looking at the people on the cover of the calendar was like taking a step back in history and misery. And many feelings arose, such as gratitude for the shoulders I stand on today, gratitude for all of the people who came before me to fight for basic rights, gratitude for their courage, grit, tenacity, perseverance, and love. I doubt I would be standing here today if it were not for those stalwart souls. Each time I look at that calendar, a favorite gospel song comes to mind that was originally written by one of Cleveland's own, James Cleveland, and released in 1978. The song is titled, I Don't Feel No Ways Tired. And these are the beginning lyrics. I don't feel no ways tired. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Our vocalist, Acacia, will sing the song.
I don't feel no ways tired. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. I'm not gonna turn back now. I've come too far from where I started from. See, nobody told me that the road would be easy. told me, nobody told me that the road would be easy. But I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
Now, if I can gather myself. Thank you, Acacia. In spite of the atrocities that people of color have suffered and still do, there is an element of love deep inside the soul that does not allow us to give up the fight for justice, because it is understood that barriers do not exist where love persists. We have a love for family and nourishing relationships, just like you. And that is a driving force that helps us to carry on. I cannot tell you how many times someone of privilege has questioned me about Black family reunions. In their minds, it seems to be an oddity. We have spent more than 500 years trying to piece together family roots as we were so ripped apart during the slave trade. Now, it is time to rejoice in the family we know and love and do what is necessary so that kinfolk know who kinfolk is. Our love and respect for freedom, justice, mercy, and truth far outweighs the injustices we have endured, and believe me, it takes courage and determination to walk in these shoes. Like the saxifrage plant, we are resilient. The saxifrage is also known as a stonebreaker because it literally has the strength to grow out of cracks in cement. We walk by faith and not by sight. And as indicated in the song, nobody told us that the road would be easy. There have been many times when my back has been up against the wall, and I will sing one of those old Negro spirituals to remind myself that we've come this far by faith and that Spirit has brought me too far to leave me. I also sing those same songs during times of triumph and victory because I never want to forget where I came from. That music is part of my roots and nourishes my soul like none other. I know where my bread is buttered. The second feeling that came to my awareness is sorrow as I looked at that calendar. I felt the heaviness of my own soul, as well as the weariness of those people on the calendar photo waiting in line to vote. I took my gift home and set it down, and I didn't open it up again until recently. It's definitely an education with bits of information noted throughout every day in the year of some type of injustice suffered by people of color. Some of what I read I already know about, but there's a lot I don't know. Dating as far back as the early 1600s up until today, much of what is on the calendar is horrific and shocking. Many of you are familiar with the story of Emmett Lewis Till, a 14-year-old boy who was abducted, tortured, and lynched in Mississippi in 1955 after being accused of offending a white woman in her family's grocery store. One of the photos that haunts me is that of his mother looking at him in his casket. He was beaten beyond recognition, and his casket was left open so that the world could see the extent of the brutality. I've seen that photo many times throughout my lifetime, and the pain and anguish on her face gets to me every time. Throughout every day of the year, there is a record of some ruling incident or experience that is appalling and heartbreaking. For example, on June 26, 1844, after slavery was declared illegal in Oregon, officials passed laws prohibiting Black people from residing in the state and authorizing the whipping of Black people found there. When I read that, it brought back a memory of a time when I was in Oregon. Oregon? About 15 years ago, I attended a 3-day spiritual retreat in Merlin, Oregon, at the Life of Learning Foundation. The foundation belongs to Guy Finley, who, at the time, was one of my favorite authors. It is a beautiful facility nestled back into the woods with lush, lovely grounds. I drove back and forth for several days from the heart of town where I was staying to the retreat center. On one of those days, a resident in the city rode with me, and I recall rounding a certain bend in the road where he pointed out to me a place where a sign had been removed not too many years before. The sign said, "Black people could not travel this road after dark." There was probably more to it, but that's all I can remember. It was so shocking just to hear him say that. And even though I traveled that road during the day, and supposedly that sign was from the past, I was still left with an extremely uneasy feeling. It also did not help that only myself and one other Black person were the only people of color out of at least 200 attendees at the retreat. Also included in the calendar are notes about lynching, political degradation, systemic racism, and some manipulative behavior by organizations that pretend to be allies but are, in truth, destroyers of human dignity. As indicated, the calendar reads like an atrocity a day, an ongoing tale of woe, with one thing after another after another. Many of the discriminatory practices are still ongoing today towards people of color, LGBTQ communities, along with the desecration of sacred indigenous spaces and more. The sorrow that I carry in my bones is an accumulation of past and present injustices. Although it may appear that only those who have been victimized carry this weight, the reality is that we all carry it. You don't have to be the family of one who is hanging on a tree to feel the mental anguish that goes along with witnessing it. You don't have to be beaten by a white policeman to know that the blood of the injured is also on your hands. Therefore, that pain is also somewhere in your soul, whether you feel it or not. I grieve the dysfunctional mentality of those who are wired to do harm and to oppress others. I believe that acts of violence towards anyone are based in fear and ignorance, primarily fear of the other and the need to control and overpower. Some say the opposite of fear is knowledge and understanding, and I imagine many of you may agree. But what if the opposite of fear is love? So the last thought I had while reviewing the calendar was about love. What about love? What kind of love would it take for us to wake up and stop hurting each other? It's certainly not that surface kind of love, one that comes and goes based on whether or not you are pleasing someone. Nope. It's certainly not romantic love, something that typically starts with physical attraction and then fizzles out often. Perhaps the closest we can come to loving each other in a way that goes beyond the surface is what is referred to as agape love, the ability to love without any self-benefit. Most are familiar with agape love through the works of Mother Teresa. It is not likely that any of us will achieve the status of sainthood, but I do believe there are a lot of people who love like nobody's business and expect nothing in return. One such West Shore congregant whose life was recently celebrated is Bob French. Would you agree? He left a legacy of love in the work he did over the years to beautify the church by the furniture he built and in the contribution that he and his wife Janet made to keep the building and grounds clean. I imagine there are others in the congregation who are contributing in a meaningful way, so know that you are appreciated for your tireless efforts as well. All too often, people who have the capacity to love so selflessly do not draw attention to themselves. I imagine they derive a sense of joy from their giving and need no acknowledgement for what they do. Will we ever forget the ordinary people who demonstrated extraordinary love during the height of the pandemic? I hope not. These heroes and sheroes went beyond the call of duty, and some even had to sacrifice family and friends in order to tend to the sick. You may be one of them. doctors, nurses, teachers, preachers, grocery store workers, fast food servers, DoorDash food delivery drivers, restaurant owners and staff, janitors, bus drivers, caregivers, or a neighbor who reached out to the most vulnerable among us to make sure their needs were met. This kind of love is more than what is obvious on the surface. It is the juice in the fruit that continues to keep on giving, no matter how dry the well seems to be. Love is inexhaustible. Just when you think you can't do one more thing, somehow you muster up enough strength to do that one more thing. If you can get up when everything in you wants to stay beneath the covers, and you can give what is needed when there is nothing left to give, then you are ready for the deep intimacy that is required to live fully in the present. And so, this calendar that I received as a gift brought up a myriad of thoughts that I have shared with you. And in overview, first was the urge to express gratitude for the many people who came before me to fight for civil rights. As an African American woman who is still in the struggle and trying to understand what is mine to do, those are the shoulders I stand on, and I am ever so grateful. Next, I experienced grief and sorrow. The calendar is a history of misery. Thinking about the many lives that have been destroyed and lost in the pursuit of justice is an indescribable burden to bear. Lastly, I sense the love. I felt the love of my ancestors who trudged on so that I might have a better life. I felt the love of the freedom fighters who risked their lives, black and white, to stand for what is right. I felt the love of the ordinary people who still fight today to right these wrongs, not knowing how they themselves will be impacted. We cannot escape the fact that life is filled with joy and sorrow, and I believe we can all agree that the troubles in the world have been in existence as long as humans have inhabited the planet. We cannot put out all of the fires, so we must pick our battles, and in doing so, we must choose wisely. Like water, love will douse the flame of fear and hate. Think about where fear or hate shows up within you. Where does it show up in your life? Is there something that you are afraid of but are not able to admit it? Do you love yourself? The more capable you are of loving yourself, the more you are able to love others. Imagine having love and compassion so deep that it feels as though it has no limits, can stretch as far as it must to meet people where they are. Imagine having the extraordinary ability to enter into the moment so much so that your presence becomes strong enough to heal by simply reaching out to another human being in love. Imagine working in accordance with your rhythm and not that of the status quo. Imagine embodying gentleness, loving yourself enough not to push, experiencing mercy and grace in the midst of our taut, sinewy lives. Imagine giving the nervous system a break from constant stimulation by finding quiet in ordinary days and in ordinary ways. In extraordinary moments, when quiet is really needed, it can feel like salvation, restoring our souls and bringing us back in alignment with life. We need infusions of quiet to recalibrate ourselves. Imagine accepting and moving with change instead of resisting it. Acceptance of life's conditions is healing, and that the body, mind, and spirit have a chance to come into alignment with truth. Imagine opening to love in unexpected ways and in unexpected places, and feeling the flow of life and the nature of its healing power. Positive energy and values loosed into the world heal. I will leave you with a quote from the late, great Bell Hooks, author and social activist, and I quote, "The moment we choose to love, we begin to move against domination, against oppression. The moment we choose to love, we begin to move towards freedom, to act in ways that liberate ourselves and others." And so it is. Please stand as you are willing and able for hymn number 151. Acacia will sing the whole song, and then you will be invited to join her for the second time around. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free.
I wish I knew how it feels to be free. I wish I could break all these chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things I could say. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole wide world to hear. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole wide world to hear. I wish I could share all the love in my heart. Remove all the bars that still keep us apart. I wish I could know what it means. You could know what it means to be me. and agree everyone should be free. Then you could see and agree everyone should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things I can do, though the way overdue, I'd be starting anew. Though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. All the things that I could say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole world to hear. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole world to hear. I wish I could share all the love in my heart, remove all the bars that still keep us apart. I wish I could know what it means. You could know to be me, then you'd see and agree everyone should be free. Then you'd see and agree everyone should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things things that I can do, though I'm way overdue. I'd be starting anew, though I'm way overdue. I'd be starting anew. I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. And I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free.
Now, you at home, bring your chalice close to extinguish it as I extinguish the chalice here. We extinguish our flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.
Remember, coffee hour, which starts at 11:30. I will see you at the sermon chat at 12 o'clock in the chapel. In the words of Duke T. Gray, the blessing of truth be upon us, the power of love direct and sustain us, and may the peace of this community preserve our going out and our coming in from this time forth until we meet again. And so may it be. See you next week, West Shore. Until then, love and courage and cheer to all. Thank you.